Friends, fellow travelers on this path of inner exploration, let us turn our gaze today towards the swirling vortex of the public sphere. We live in an age saturated with spectacles, celebrity dramas playing out in real time, political maneuvers unfolding like elaborate theatrical productions, and social media narratives that amplify every conflict and controversy to a fever pitch. How do we, as seekers of inner peace, navigate this landscape without losing ourselves in the noise and turbulence? How do we cultivate a sanctuary of stillness within, even as the world outside pulsates with sensationalism and division? The spectacle, in its essence, is a carefully constructed image, a curated performance designed to capture our attention and elicit a response. Whether it's the meticulously crafted persona of a celebrity or the strategically staged pronouncements of a politician, these public figures are often acting out roles, playing to an audience of millions and fueled by ambitions that may be quite divorced from genuine human connection. It's easy to become entangled in these narratives, to feel drawn into the drama, the outrage, the endless cycle of commentary and counter-commentary. We see a celebrity embroiled in a scandal, and suddenly we're dissecting their choices, judging their character, and taking sides in a conflict that ultimately has little to do with our own lives. We watch a political debate and find ourselves swept up in partisan fervor, defending our beliefs with an intensity that can leave us feeling drained and disconnected from the common humanity that binds us. But what if we could step back from the spectacle, observe it with a measure of detachment, and recognize it for what it is, a constructed reality, a projection of human desires, fears, and ambitions onto a public stage? What if we could cultivate a space of inner stillness from which to witness these events without allowing them to define our emotional state or consume our attention? The key, I believe, lies in understanding the nature of our own minds. We are meaning-making machines, constantly interpreting, evaluating, and reacting to the information that comes our way. When we encounter a public spectacle, our minds immediately begin to generate narratives, drawing upon our existing beliefs, values, and experiences to make sense of what we're seeing. This process is often unconscious, automatic. We may not even realize that we're filtering the information through a lens of personal bias. But it's precisely this filtering that shapes our emotional response. If we believe that a particular celebrity is a role model, we may feel betrayed and disillusioned when they engage in behavior that we deem unacceptable. If we are deeply invested in a particular political ideology, we may feel threatened and angry when we hear opposing viewpoints expressed. The problem is not that we have beliefs or values. The problem is that we often cling to these beliefs so tightly that we become unable to see beyond them. We become trapped in a rigid worldview, unable to entertain the possibility that there might be other ways of seeing things. This is where the practice of mindfulness can be so valuable. Mindfulness is the art of paying attention to the present moment without judgment. It's about observing our thoughts and feelings as they arise without getting carried away by them. When we practice mindfulness in the context of the public spectacle, we can begin to notice the ways in which our minds are creating narratives and generating emotional reactions. We can observe the judgments that arise, the impulses to take sides, the feelings of outrage or anger, and recognize them for what they are, simply thoughts and feelings passing through our awareness. This doesn't mean that we have to become indifferent to the world around us. It doesn't mean that we can't have opinions or take action on issues that we care about. It simply means that we can do so with greater clarity, compassion, and equanimity. When we are mindful, we are less likely to be swept away by the emotional currents of the spectacle. We are less likely to be manipulated by carefully crafted narratives or propaganda. We are more likely to see the humanity in others, even when we disagree with them. Consider, for example, the intense polarization that characterizes so much of our political discourse today. It's easy to demonize those who hold opposing views, to see them as enemies rather than fellow citizens with different perspectives. But when we practice mindfulness, we can begin to recognize that these enemies are also human beings with their own fears, hopes, and experiences that have shaped their beliefs. This doesn't mean that we have to agree with them. It simply means that we can approach them with a greater sense of empathy and understanding. We can listen to their perspectives without feeling threatened or defensive. We can engage in respectful dialogue even when we disagree. Similarly, when we encounter celebrity conflicts, we can practice mindfulness by observing our own reactions without judgment. We can ask ourselves why we are so invested in the lives of these public figures. What needs are we trying to meet by following their dramas? Are we seeking entertainment, validation, or a distraction from our own lives? By understanding our own motivations, we can begin to detach from the spectacle and focus our attention on what truly matters, our own well-being, our relationships, and our contribution to the world. Cultivating inner peace in the face of the public spectacle is not about escaping from reality. It's about engaging with reality in a more conscious, compassionate, and skillful way. It's about recognizing that the world outside is a reflection of the world within, and that by cultivating inner peace, we can contribute to a more peaceful and just world for all. This cultivation of inner peace can take many forms. It can be as simple as taking a few deep breaths before checking social media, or as profound as engaging in regular meditation practice. It can involve spending time in nature, connecting with loved ones, or engaging in creative activities that nourish our souls. Ultimately, the path to inner peace is a personal one, and there is no one-size-fits-all solution. But by cultivating mindfulness, compassion, and a commitment to living in alignment with our values, we can navigate the public spectacle with greater clarity, equanimity, and grace. Let us remember that we are not merely passive observers of the world around us. We are active participants, and the choices we make about where to focus our attention, how to respond to events, and what kind of energy we bring to the world can have a profound impact. By choosing to cultivate inner peace, we are not only benefiting ourselves, but also contributing to a more peaceful and compassionate world for all. We are becoming beacons of light in a world that often feels dark and chaotic. And that, my friends, is a spectacle worth celebrating. Let us strive to be discerning consumers of information, critical thinkers, and compassionate human beings. Let us remember that the world is not just what we see on our screens, but also what we create with our hearts and minds. And let us always choose love, understanding, and peace over division, judgment, and conflict. For it is in these qualities that we find our true strength, our true purpose, and our true connection to the divine.